Hey dads, if you clicked on this video, that's because you want to learn a little bit more about financial literacy. And these two books, in my opinion, are the best to be able to get you started on your journey. They actually helped me get started on my journey. And after reading and listening to a whole bunch of other books, these still remain the two best ones that I were able to change me and my perspective on what's going to actually help me and my family reach our goals and dreams. And so stick around and I'll be able to first go over Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then the cash flow quadrant and how you can actually apply these in your life and if you should read these for yourself. Story time. When my wife and I were working in Alaska, I never really understood how money actually works or even really had a passion for it. I was raised by farmers and that's just kind of really thought I was going to be going back into. But luckily I had an uncle who kind of pulled me aside, and before I went all the way up there, he gave me a whole bunch of books that I should start listening to. And of course, like any other young kid at that time, I spent a while to actually get to them. I listened to my other books that were fun and were interesting to me, but it wasn't until I actually started listening to these help books that actually changed my entire perspective on like, oh my gosh, I need to do something completely different with my life. And that is what completely switched me from going into agriculture to what I'm doing now, helping other young dads actually learn about what money is and how it actually works. And so, just a couple of thoughts about why I believe these two books are so foundational and why you should listen to them today. First off, Rich Dad Poor Dad. One of the biggest, most foundational things that kind of rocked my world was a house is not an asset. This kind of completely blew up my mind because forever I thought, well, people have homes, they put on down payments, it's a big investment. And so those things that go onto their asset column. And that's just what I always assumed. But that's when I realized that home, not an asset, it's an actual liability. And those two big differences is an asset is anything quite simply that puts money into your pocket or grows in value. Whereas a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket or loses value. And what do homes do? Well, they need electricity and you have to pay taxes on them, and you have different utilities like heating, and then it disrepairs and you have to pay for more siding and stuff like that. And now there is, of course, different properties that can grow and become investments in themselves. But by and large, most of the time, houses are liabilities. And that is just the main concept that I got from this book. And I'll give you a couple more as well. But what is the difference between an asset and a liability? And are the things I'm working for in my life? Is my car asset or liability? It's a liability. It takes money out of my pocket because I have to pay for gas and upkeep. And all I really use is for transportation, which is important, but it's not an investment. It's not an asset. And that goes from everything to my concept change of like, what am I really putting my money towards and why I should be thinking about it differently. The next biggest thing I learned from this book is learning to work. If I'm going to be spending my entire time as a young kid dedicated to what should I actually be doing for the rest of my life, I shouldn't be focusing on, oh, what kind of career would I like or things like that. I should be actually focusing on what skills do I want to develop. And that was a really big thing for me too, because even though I loved agriculture and I do want to continue to learn about it, and I still do a lot of things with my family, I was kind of lost on the part where how do I actually make money work for me? And that is what completely changed my perspective of actually looking for mentors who knew how money works and how I actually wanted to do that kind of thing. And that is something that you should be applying to is your career or your job, is that actually teaching you things you want to do with your life, skills that you could actually use, or is it kind of holding you back? And even if you need to keep with that job and do something in your spare time or in your evenings or something like that, are you building and developing yourself with skills, not just a degree or certificate or something like that? And the last biggest thing I learned from Rich Dad Poor Dad was business.
You will love business. It is the American way.
Now, I know a lot of people have some different ideas on this, but the biggest thing that I want you to know right off the bat is that business is by far the hardest way to make money. It is so much harder than going to somebody and just doing some work for them and getting paid for it. Whereas you have to do a whole bit different kind of thing with starting your own business or even taking over a business, buying a business. It's very hard, very difficult, but its long-term rewards are so much greater than you'll ever get anywhere else. And that leads me directly to his second book, Cash Flow Quadrant. You may have seen this thing before, ESBI, and have no idea like what the heck is this chart? Is that some kind of cult or something like that? don't worry, it's just his description on how people make money and if people are making money work for them. And so I'll go over this real quick. E is for employee. Basically, they trade their time for money. They go to a job, they put in the work, and then they come back home with a paycheck, and that is how they do it. But they're trading time for money, and most people are in this kind of position. But then there's self-employed. Self-employed, where you are doing the exact same thing. You may even consider yourself a business owner at this point, but you are still trading your time for money. And there's only two things in this world where you can always work for more money, but you're never going to have more time. And that is something that the people on the right side of the quadrant have done something different. Business owners and investors, where they're starting to have money work for them. And so what's really cool about this whole chart is 90% of people are making their money on this side, whereas 90% of the wealth is on this side. And so a lot of people are trying to go directly from employees to investors, where they're able to put money somewhere and their money is literally working for them, or business owners who are able to have other people using other people's time to be able to make them money. But this, most of the time, this process is very difficult to go directly from employee to investor. And that's why Robert Kiyosaki, in his book describing these different quadrants and how they work, often will try to recommend people to go from whatever it is on the left side to first going to becoming a business owner and then becoming an investor. And so I hope you excuse my rough drawing I made here in under 30 seconds, but that is the main thing that I got from cash flow quadrant is, what am I doing with my time? And is that getting me more time with my family, or is it taking time away from me? And that's the biggest thing I want to be able to have for young dads is, with this whole quadrant, are you getting more time or are you losing time with your family? And so all that being said, these are the best books to be able to help you get started in a financial literacy journey and actually understanding how you could build something for you and your family. So 100% I would recommend going and reading these books, because these are the ones that set up my foundation. And despite me reading a bunch of other different books about not only money, but also entrepreneurship as well, these are the ones that I believe are still the best foundation for people to be able to do that. So go ahead and read it if you already have, or if you need to read it again, go ahead and do that. Now, if you are interested in actually getting a quicker version of all this and getting a custom free financial needs analysis, go ahead and go to the link in the description and you'll be able to book a one-on-one call with either myself or one of my partners, and we'll be able to go with you what your family's goals and dreams are and what is the game plan to be able to actually reach them, and doing it in a way that has actionable steps that you could apply that same day. Now, hope you enjoyed my 2 cents on this really short video. If you want to be able to see more stuff, there's a button down below that says subscribe on it. It's a handy dandy button, the subscribe button. Go ahead and click on that. You're going to be able to see more of my stuff. There's also the like button. It looks like this. Click on that. It says you like this kind of stuff. And if you have any questions, or if you want to share your own thoughts or opinions, again, everything I share on here is my own personal opinion, and I'd love to be able to hear yours as well. Comment below. And if you want to be able to see my latest video, go ahead and click over here, and I will see you on this video as soon as you click on it. Go.